It's grandson of right thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Life. Y'all remember in the book of Revelation where it speaks about John being given a little book, and he was told to eat that little book, and he said that in his mouth the little book was like honey, but it made his belly bitter. First of all, you notice that the book was little? And what was he told before he was given this book to eat it? And why is it relevant to you? Why am I telling this to you? Well, first of all, that book, Revelation, look at the name of it. Revealing, uncovering, exposing, apocalypse, showing things for what they truly are. Well, in this book, John is told that he has to prophesy again before many nations, peoples, and tongues. Take note that it says he must do this again. And then he's given that little book, and he's told to eat it. Now, these events that happened in Revelation to John, was John in the flesh or was he in the spirit when these things took place? Well, what does John say? He says, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard a voice behind me. So I was in the spirit. And throughout Revelation, do we see that John is caught up or told, come up here? And immediately I was in the spirit. So John is caught up into the spiritual realm. And then he's sent back because he's told that he has to prophesy again. And he's given this little book. Well, the reason why the book is little, if you're still listening, is because it's a short period of time that John is going to be prophesying. Now, when is he going to do this? At the end. When things are revealed for what they are. John will prophesy again. He will come back in the flesh because he was in the spirit when he received these things. Having been exiled to an island of Patmos because they sought for his life but could not take it. It was also said about John, the apostles murmured between each other and saying, John can't die. John ain't going to ever die. Y'all understand why they're saying these things? Why this was even a discussion in the scriptures about John not dying? And Yahushua saying, if he tarry till I come, what is that to you? Follow me. Y'all remember that? What was that all about? The little book. The prophesying again. The revelation of Yahushua Christ given to John. You must prophesy again, John. So you've done it once, and then you have to do it again. And this time, when I send you back, it's only for a short time. Only for a short time. Or as he said, a little book. See, a book. A book is a story. Right? A book is a story about a life being lived, correct? And you happen to be the main story of your own book. If you were a book, then why is there an author and a finisher of your faith? Somebody authored it. That's what it's written. So they wrote it. And you became one with that story. And you believed that you were that character in that story. When did you believe it, the story? When did you believe you were that character? When you came into the flesh. What I'm telling you on this video about the little book. Because John was in the spirit when he received it. That's why it was sweet in his mouth, but bitter to his belly. Why, grandson? What is written about sin? Sin, when it has conceived, bringeth forth death. When it is conceived. So, we'll use sex, since conceived is a sexual term or a childbearing term. In order to conceive, you have to have sex. Well, while you're having sex, it feels good. That's the sweet in your mouth. You see? But you conceive and you bring something forward. Now let's say you conceive a child with a woman you don't want a child with. Well, while you're having sex with her, it feels good. If it didn't, then all of these people wouldn't be in the situations that they're in. With widows and fatherless children and broken homes and all that shit. So then people doing the part that feels good. But the bitter part, that make your belly bitter. That's the belly bitter is the feeling you feel when y'all call it fight or flight or adrenaline rush, anxiety attack, anxiousness, stress, that feeling in your stomach, that tight knot. That's a bitter belly. Well, that's what John got when he ate the book. Why? Because coming into the flesh is forbidden fruit. It's good and evil. So when you eat it, you say it tastes good. But when it conceives in your belly and you see the fruit of the flesh life, it makes your shit bitter. So John was given a little book or a little short time at the end to prophesy again to the people of different nations, different tongues, different ethnicities, different all that. John has to preach to those people again. Because he has the testimony of Christ. See? And what is the testimony of Christ? The spirit of prophecy. It's right there in the scriptures. So since Abba doesn't change, and John was the one in Yahushua's bosom, which means out of all of the branches, listen closely, out of all of the branches that are connected to the true vine, there is one branch in particular in the bosom. Now read about John. See? The one in whom he loved. The one in his bosom. Why does it single him out? Well, you shall prophesy again because you have the testimony of Christ. You know him. You are the branch. Out of all my branches, John, that's why you're in my bosom. You cleave to what I have said closer than anyone else. That's why you're in the bosom. That's why he said, if he tarry till I come, what is that to you? Why are you concerned what I'm doing over here with my servant? Worry about your own salvation. Just come and follow me. Because that's all John gonna do. That's what he's saying. So that little book representing a short period of time on the earth at the end happened after he was caught up in the spirit. Y'all follow that? So he first must be caught up in the spirit. Well, that happened. And after being caught up in the spirit, then he was sent back to the world to bear testimony of what he had received or the revelation that he had gotten. Because that's the book that's put in his mouth. That's the words that were put in his mouth. Or in other words, that's the story that you got to play out now. You got to act it out. Remember Christ said, take up your cross and follow me. Okay? In other words, take up your script, pick it up. You reading it? You got it? Okay, now take it up, follow me. Okay? I'll follow my script to a T. You following yours? Well, no, because all like sheep have gone astray from following the script. You see? The scriptures. All like sheep have gone astray. So then it should be very clear in your own life what's going on, because we're going to break it down here in this video. He had to prophesy again to remind everybody of what Yahushua had said, because that's his testimony, because he's intimate with Yahushua. He's in his bosom. He had to share the intimate details of his relationship, and his relationship with Christ led him to the conclusion that love was the answer to all of men's woes. All of men's problems are solved with love. A man is set free from every chain with love. That'll do it. Because love keeps no records of wrongs. That's very hard for human beings to do that. For man to do that. He must be born again. Well, man has forgotten that. He seeks to cleave and to hang on to his life because he believes that that is life. A man's mood is his number one priority throughout his day and every day. He manipulates his mood by his environments. So if he's doing that, then he has made himself subject to an environment, or in other words, outside circumstances, to make his mood become a certain way. I'll give you an example. If you're stressed out, pissed off, having a bad day, and then you see something hilarious happen, or somebody cracks a funny ass joke that you can't help but laugh at, then what happens? You feel your mood react. Now you may pull it back into mean mode or do whatever you do, but you feel it respond. You might crack a joke, you might crack out laughing or whatever, but you respond. Well, that outside stimuli pulls you out of that vibration momentarily. So is it truly your vibration, or are you choosing it? Anybody who said they're having a bad day, ask them, is it because of something that happened in their life? Because that's what we do. Somebody is frowning, we walk and we say, what's going on? What's the matter? And then they tell us. And when they tell you, it's always something 3D. Outside of them, in other words. Oh man, I just lost something. My best friend just passed away, man. I'm devastated. Outside of them. Oh, my dog, Roscoe, man, he passed, man. I loved him, man. 12 years I had him. Outside of yourself. Oh, man, I just got fired today. Outside of yourself. But it's affecting your inner world, isn't it? That's the error. So you have to remember, we said author and finisher of your faith, correct? He wrote out the story of how you exemplify faith in your life, how you show it forth. He wrote that. Now, that story comes with sweetness and bitterness. It's bittersweet, as we say here in this world. That's what the story comes with. Because in order for you to show your faith, you have to believe something beautiful, wonderful, joyous in the face of looking at something terrible. Looks like it's over. Looks like doom. Looks like you're destroyed. looks like it's over with for you, and you believe despite those great odds, that's what faith actually is. So if you don't have some part of your story where you are overcoming a circumstance that looks impossible, then you ain't got no faith story. Y'all hear that today? You're not ecclesiaed to live a faith book. Ecclesia means called out, selected out of the world. You're not called out of the world to walk in a newness of life, but a new purpose, which is faith, no longer sight, because we don't walk by sight, we walk by faith. Why? Because the things that are seen are temporary, but the things that are unseen are eternal. It's simple for us when we see that kind of math lined up right there. It's not hard. It's just rebellion blocks you from accepting the truth. Hard-headedness blocks the truth from coming through and setting you free. You'd rather be in fear than to be set free. Well, many do. They walk by sight. This is what I mean when I just said to you before our little break there. I said, things are affecting you. It's all outside of you. It has to look like you're destroyed in order for it to take faith. Why? Why y'all think that is? Because faith actually is the substance of what you hope for, even though there's no evidence. So let's get some examples of this. If I were told that I was going to have a son, but yet I had no wife at the time, I had no woman at all, just me on a deserted island all by myself. Because remember, it has to look impossible. So I'm on a deserted island. There's no one there but me. I'm there all by myself with a soccer ball like Wilson and shit. And I'm told, you're going to have a son. Now, if I go by sight, what will I start saying to myself? And there's no need for us to laugh and get silly about this part of the class today. We all need to really do it so we can understand our own weak frailty in our minds and how quickly we start walking by sight and forget to walk by faith and have to be reminded. Return to faith. Return to your book. Your short little bittersweet book. You hear that? You've been talking to the world, but now I'm going to give you a new little short little book and then go talk again. Because I'm going to cut the work of righteousness short. Isn't that what he said in his word, y'all? It ain't going to take him a long time to do it. That's why it's a little book. Remember, the apostles asked Christ. They inquired, what's going to happen to John? What's going to become of him? We know what's going to happen with us, but what's going to happen with him? If he tarry till I come, what is it to you? In other words, what does it matter to you? What is what I do with him? How is it going to affect you in your salvation? Well, so then don't worry about it. You just keep following me like I told you to do. But why? The point is, why did they inquire about John? What's going to happen with him? Why do you think they did? They were curious to see about the book. In other words, they were curious about what he was going to fulfill. In other words, y'all understand that? Well, love. Okay, if it's not love that he's sent here to tell you in the last days, what do you guys think it is? What does the world lack? What is the world in desperate need of? What will conquer all? So then we can put a period there, because there's nothing else we need to know. I don't know why people want to act stupid with knowledge. Because getting knowledge keep you from being stupid. So why you fight knowledge? He says get it. And while you're getting all that knowledge, get you some understanding too. So you can know what you're doing. You can remind yourself on a daily basis, wait a minute, I'm getting pulled into the 3D. it's making me feel a temporary feeling. Grandson. Talk to the little flock, grandson. Remind yourself it's temporary. Now, you who believe, who have accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior, what do you say? What do you say about these things that I'm saying? Are there things that affect your mood? Does your environment affect your mood? Okay, y'all want to act silly about it. Let's get simple. If you go into a public bathroom and there's somebody in there in the stall going, will that affect your mood? Will it start to alter what your thoughts are? Your nose, will it start to send signals? Your ears, will offense start to come up inside of you? So then something outside of you affect you. Now let's say that you were walking down the street and you were just minding your business, not thinking about anything deep. You were just minding your business, and then all of a sudden you see a badass Bentley drive by. You go, damn, look at that shit, that bitch nice as hell. So something outside of you, once again, affected you. It altered your mood. No, it didn't. Okay. Then how come you go to the rich restaurant when you go take your woman out? How come you didn't go to the poorest restaurant you could find? Huh? You're not happening to be trying to affect her mood, are you? Because for Christmas you bought her a big ass diamond tennis bracelet. You wouldn't happen to have went through all the trouble of getting that, and men digging down in the earth, pulling diamonds off so they can sell it on the market and do all that. That's not happening to affect mood. It's not. So that her mood will turn from, oh my God, get out of my fucking face. Just go with your boys or something. Oh my God, you're so fucking annoying. It will change to that to, oh my God, I love you, Daddy, you're the best. Oh my God. Yeah, that's why I went through all that trouble of getting that diamond. You're not fooling me. You're not fooling God. You're not fooling yourself. You're not fooling her. You're not fooling anybody. So then why do it? Because you believe in that temporary. Is it temporary? Was she happy with the bracelet for a minute, then she got mad again over some other shit 6 months later? 3 months later? You like, yeah, she sure did. So I had to go get her a Range Rover this time. And then she gave you the same temporary loop again, didn't she? So the things which are seen are temporal. But the things which are not seen are everlasting. See how it don't disconnect? So then you got a faith story. Now when the bitterness come a part of the story, then you start looking around being flabbergasted and confused. Yes, because like I said earlier, all like sheep have gone astray from their story. They didn't believe by faith. That's what that means. So now, what is man's error? Being faithless. Now, look through the Bible. Look at the father and his son and look at what they say. Is their problem faithlessness? Oh, faithless and perverse generation. O ye of little faith. I have not found faith in Israel. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, if you have faith, you can say to this mountain, oh Peter, you're sinking into the water. Why did you doubt, O ye of little faith? So he said it. I'm just reminding you that he said it because a lot of y'all ain't believing it. It's simple. As soon as something happened to you outside of yourself, you let it affect you, nigga. Then you ain't I am. You are I hope to be until something happens to me. Well, that ain't God's name. So I don't know who the hell you serving. You serving a God named I hope to be until something else happened? There ain't no power in that, nigga. Hey, who you serve? Well, I would like to be but that guy's stronger. So your God is I would like to be, but that guy's stronger. You have that nigga. I don't worship idols wherein there is no power. I worship the living God of my forefathers. I am is his name that I was told. So what were you told? I would like to be, but I can't right now. I wish I was, but I ain't. I don't like them niggas. I'm going to serve the true God here. I am. I change not. Okay, so if I walk by faith, then my job is to not change. It's to never change. No, I'm asking you guys, do I change? Oh boy. But before I accepted my little book and I went astray, I was not walking by faith, but by sight. And I was changing. 1 minute I'm sad. 1 minute I'm happy. 1 minute I'm glad. 1 minute I'm mad. 1 minute I feel like I'm confident. 1 minute I'm insecure. 1 minute I feel like I'm good. 1 minute I feel like I'm bad. 1 minute I feel like I'm doing things right. Next minute I feel like I'm evil. How long will you struggle between two masters? Because I ain't about to struggle with him. I'm about to give my allegiance to one God. And that one God is the God of love. So then if I find myself not saying things of love, then I'm proving I don't believe in the God I say I serve. Do y'all hear that today or what? I ain't walking by faith if I'm not walking as my Father expected me to, which is like unto himself. Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Well, people think being perfect is by works. Well, you sought it not by faith. Now read your Bible and see if it says it. But you're so hard-headed, you're unwilling to accept it when it's right there. We're not seeking it by faith, Israel. Oh, works. If I could just cut that out of my life, I'll just be vegan and I'll stop doing that. Or I'll stop jacking off and I'll go no fat the rest of my life. Or I'll stop eating meat. Or I'll stop. Never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, denying the power thereof, because you seek it not by faith. It is something that it already is. And before we end this message, the book was sweet in the mouth, bitter in the belly. Well, isn't that what happened to Eve? This is what I'm saying to you. You eat sin, it brings forth death. Everything you do that's sin, let's check it. Do it feel good? And is that why it allures to you? Yes. But the fruit, is it always good? Well, let's see. If you're committing adultery, you're having sex with another man's wife, it's probably going to feel exhilarating and exciting and good, as you would call it. In other words, while you're eating it, the little book, it's sweet in your mouth. It tastes good. You think you're experiencing something good until the bitterness sets in of what you've done. And the adrenaline tears your stomach apart. And your chakra starts to turn yellow to let you know that you're becoming afraid. And you're living like an animal who's being tracked. And you're looking over your shoulders and you're paranoid now. That's the bitter. And that's what the flesh does when you eat the forbidden fruit of the flesh. It tastes good. Why do you think Eve gave it to her husband? But it wasn't good. It was good and evil. Now, can you serve two masters? Well, that fruit is going to try to make you. Oh, Israel, y'all can't hear me today. Don't eat that fruit. What fruit, God? The double-minded fruit. Can y'all hear me, Israel? Be ye not double-minded. Don't eat the double-minded fruit. Don't eat the fruit of duality. Because we're one here. But you want to do it anyway? Well, then you'll be split into two. Go ahead. Go ahead. Split into two is your thoughts and your feelings. When you think something good, like, I'm not eating that fruit because my father told me not to. and then you don't eat it, then you feel good. You truly feel good, eternally. That doesn't change. You will always feel good with the Father when you abide by his commandment. That's the point. But when you break his commandment, then you become naked and you cover your shame. And then he has to ask you that question. Who told you you were naked? Who revealed evil to you? Did you eat of that fruit? Yep. So the way out of that is through faith. Out of that world of duality and that constant loop. Are you hearing me today? Sit around this.